People, this week our guest is Kobbii Nyarko, the visionary and director of Raw Fusion and the founder of Portsmouth Property Connect.
I guess I've always wanted to do something larger than life. I've always wanted to do things that are bigger, man. There were loads of different things happening in my area. People were going to prison, people had died, so I kind of wanted out. I started off as a PT when I left uni, and I feel like I kind of hit the peak. 2019, and I'm just looking around for a second, and then something just hit me, man. It's like I was hypnotized in the moment. Everything went silent, and I was just sitting there thinking, everything needs to change. Like, I'm plant-based, I'm not thinking of it at the time. We're brainstorming a name, and then we came up with the name Raw Fusion, and then that's when I said, yeah, all right, I'm gonna hold on to this Raw Fusion name, and when I start something, that's what it's gonna be called. A lot of people can say what they want to say about these property courses, but for where I was at that moment in time, I was fully inspired. Because this guy is standing up at the front telling me that he's done the complete opposite and become a huge success. I would say to anybody, and I'll say to any child, whatever you have in your mind is your dream, it can become a reality.
How are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm alright, man. I'm
Yeah.
alright. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
And,
Should be good.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being a guest on the show.
No problem at all. Thank you for inviting me, man. I know it's been a minute. You contacted me a while ago, but I've had some stuff going on, so.
Life gets in the way.
Yeah, that's it, man. Here we are.
Yeah, trust. So yeah, man, welcome to the What's Going On show. The show where we literally shine a light on people doing things in communities, and you yourself are doing things in the community. So, little tradition we've got on this show is, instead of me giving you an introduction, I like to give it over to you to give yourself an introduction. So, Who in a nutshell is Kobbii Nyarko?
Yeah,
Nyarko.
That's it. Perfect, man. No one ever says my name right, so thanks, man. So Kobbii Nyarko. I say it the Ghanaian way.
Nice.
Kobbii Nyarko. So who am I in a nutshell? That's a bit of a tricky one. Like I've just mentioned, I was born of Ghanaian parents, but I was born here in Hammersmith. Grew up or stayed in Hammersmith maybe 10, 11 years of my life. Then moved to Thornton Heath in South London. And I was there more or less throughout the rest of my upbringing. That's more or less the boy. Going into the man, I think there's been a few things that have happened over the past couple of years that have sort of shaped me to who I am. Over time, I guess I've just had trials and tribulations, as everyone does, that sort of allows you to graduate onto becoming a better version of yourself, or should. I like to say I'm following a particular path and I'm sort of taking myself there. I usually get deep and spiritual a lot, so excuse that. But then, in terms of who I am and what I do, growing up, they always ask you that question, what do you want to be when you're older? And I never had an answer. Like, I just knew that I was going to be able to do loads of different things. I enjoy doing many different things, and I just want to live a life of enjoyment doing the things that I do. So I started off as a PT when I left uni. I was a personal trainer at the university for a while, and then I moved to London, was a personal trainer at Virgin Active. I was there for a while, and I feel like I kind of hit the peak. I had all my qualifications. I was sort of at a good level in Virgin. However, growing up in a situation where my parents were always working, and I'm an only child as well. So I've had a lot of time to think, and I've had a lot of no's my whole life. So I guess I've always wanted to do something larger than life. I've always wanted to do things that are bigger, man. And I knew when I was doing my personal training that I was getting to a point that, I don't think this is going to take me any further than where I need to go, but I don't know what's coming next. So Things happen, which I'm sure we'll probably get into and talk about. And then, yeah, I sort of found myself on a mission where I was just trying to find opportunities where I can put myself to do the things that I enjoy doing, help other people, and potentially create a foundation for myself where essentially I could build an empire. I think that's always been at the back of my mind, even as a child, but I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know it was possible. Now, looking at the world we're in, I've sort of graduated on towards that, and I think that's where I feel most comfortable. So it does sound a bit crazy when I say it like that, but Raw Fusion is something that came into the fold after 2020, after realizing that being a personal trainer, a lot of people like to train for holidays or train for their wedding or train. Some people do train for their health, but for me, the most important thing is eating. And I had my own journey with cooking, eating meat, eating the wrong meat, having a bit of an accident, and then going plant-based. And when I went plant-based, I think I stumbled onto something and I realized something. There's a different power with this. Also started getting into things like fasting and all these kind of things. And I've always wanted to kind of share this information in the right way. Experimenting with cooking, something that I've always been into. So Raw Fusion kind of came off the back of that. And then during a dark time in my life, 2021, my partner showed me about property. Went to a few courses, but at the time had no money, had nothing basically. So it's, what do you do? Like, how are you going to get into property investment, buy a property that's worth £300,000? You got nothing to your name, you're in debt. There's so much stuff going on. So we decided to start a property networking event when I moved back to Portsmouth. And then we've been building it from there. Now we're on social media, doing things on YouTube. So yeah, again, it's just me being myself in different situations, seeing who I can serve in the meantime, to eventually get to somewhere that probably even blows my mind. So I guess that's me in a nutshell, man.
Well, no, thank you. And okay, so let's take us back then. So you said you grew up in Hammersmith for the first 11 years.
Yeah, so I was born in Hammersmith. I grew up in Acton.
Okay, yeah, no, Acton.
Yeah. I grew up in Acton. So Shepherd's Bush was my local back then, before Westfield.
Wow.
Yeah. Shepherd's Bush Market. Used to go there every weekend with my mum.
Wow. And how was, do you have fond memories of childhood?
Yeah, definitely, man. Even though I'm an only child, my parents have loads of siblings. On my mum's side, I'm the youngest. I have my cousins, well, one of the youngest for sure. And on my dad's side, I'm sort of middle oldest. So yeah, I was during the week, it'll be me, my mum, my dad. On the weekend, family. That's how it's always been. It's funny because my kids are like that now. So yeah, I've always had that mix. Both parents were they're married in the house. My parents, I have to say, were good parents, man. They were really good parents, and they still are. They're amazing. It's just, I think, them coming from Ghana and then growing up raising a child in this country where they're in a completely different environment that they're not used to, that's where the challenges came. But then, yeah, childhood was blessed. So yeah, I have fun memories of being an actor and growing up there for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how was school for you then? Do you enjoy school? Was school always a strong subject?
School was interesting. Primary school was cool. So I went to, let me think of this. I went to a school in Chiswick, which is down the road from Acton at the very beginning. And I'll just be honest, it was majority white school. And then my mum moved jobs. She was working in like South Kensington area, and there was an opportunity for me to go to school in Chelsea. Again, majority white school. So over there, I think, not to say I was bad, I don't think I was a bad kid, but I was very boisterous. I got a lot of energy. So just off that, I probably got into quite a bit of trouble. And then secondary school, I went to a school called Westminster City Boys in Victoria. Sounds like a nice, posh school. Not necessarily, but then I think the shock for me, but it was a good shock, is that majority of the kids there were black. And I kind of felt like I'm at home now. So my boisterous was nothing compared to what everybody else was doing and getting into. And in that way, I kind of blended in, man, and it was great. Had obviously through school, you have your ups and downs experiences. A lot of stuff happened in my school. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of stuff. But yeah, no, it was a great time. I never got kicked out or anything like that. However, I only finished with 3 GCSEs, so I had a lot of fun. I'll say that for sure. Especially when I got to like year 10 and year 11, I'm finding myself a bit more. I'm starting to realize females, like there's loads of stuff happening. So school was cool, man. I came out with 3 GCSEs, not the best. I guess I kind of went into a dark time when I come out of school because of that. But yeah, school was okay. It was all right.
Just on that then, so you said a dark time after GCSEs. How so?
So I think where I finished with 3 GCSEs, again, I've got African parents. I've got African family. Yeah, you're meant to be doctor, lawyer, engineer, all that kind of stuff. So when I came out with 3 GCSEs, it was disappointing for my family. Like, I'll just be real. My mum might say something different now. But in all honesty, back then, it was disappointing. Like, it affected my home structure a little bit. I was distracted because there's so many things happening in my area at the time. Thornton Heath was a bit crazy around that time. So we're talking 2007, 2008. It was a bit mad. I think that year was one of those first years of like the highest records of killings in London. Like, it was a mad year. We have friends that died, friends that went to prison. So that was a little bit dark. I guess, again, I'm finding myself. And yeah, that first year out of school was a tricky one. I had to stay back. I didn't have to, but at the time I thought I had to stay back and do like a BTEC first and retake a GCSE. I think it was English. And I just felt like my mum and dad want me to go to uni, but how am I gonna make that happen? You know, that's where I was sort of at, and I was getting distracted by all these things. So yeah, it was a bit of a dark moment, and then I finished that year at sixth form, got whatever I needed, and my mum was like, "All right, so what are you gonna do now? Like, where's your interest? Like, you don't want to." My mum was always big on you should do something in science, and I got a C in biology. I think my biology teacher was really good. And I got a B in PE. PE's always been my thing. Like, naturally, a lot of energy. So when we had games day or PE, that was my best class, really. My PE teachers loved me. Like, but my French teacher, you know, she had something to say. So, yeah, I was sort of thinking, where do I go? All my friends have gone to this college in my area called John Ruskin. Again, had a bit of a reputation. I'm a bit older now. I don't know what goes on there now, but back then had a bit of a reputation. And I remember I enrolled, and then I came back with the card. Mum, I enrolled at John Ruskin. She was like, "What do you enroll to do?" Sports at John Ruskin, Kobbii. Yeah, what's wrong with that? She's like, let me look into something. So she went and started looking, what can you do with sports and science? And then she came across sports science, and they were doing BTEC courses at 2 colleges, Richmond, City of Westminster. So she was like, look, go to these, go enroll at one of these and do the sports science course, because I think it'll be much better. It's got that science element. I was like, Mum, it's probably like the same thing. She was like, no, don't stay in Croydon. Go there and check it out. So I went to Richmond first. And funny enough, when I got to Richmond, I saw so many people from my school that I knew. I was like, oh yeah, this is sick. All right, I can get with this. Go in there, space is full. So, man. So left there and then went to City of Westminster. Saw no one I knew. I was thinking, yeah, this is way out my depth. Even though I went Westminster City Boys, City of Westminster College is on Edgware Road. So it more goes into West London territory. So it was a bit different, but they had spaces. I got in, and to be honest, that probably changed everything in my mind. It changed everything around. I was going through tough times, but that kind of changed things, because now I'm actually interested in this course. And then that's what led on to where the journey went from there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So interesting. So you got into the City of Westminster College?
Yeah.
And okay, so after that, when was that journey then? So you've got this new focus.
It was interesting, man. I had some friends there that were from the same part of London I'm from. So yeah, we had our banter, man. It was funny. But then learning about sports science, you got physiology, psychology, biomechanics. Biomechanics is like the physics of the body. For me, at the time, I didn't know it, but I found it so interesting. Like, I think we did a psychology coursework on, I think you had to pick an athlete or something like that and think about like the mindset of that athlete and something like this. But then I think my athlete that I picked was Mike Tyson. And then I went back. This was fun for me. I'm watching Mike Tyson videos. So I'm watching him knock people out, and I'm also watching him talk the mad stuff he was talking back then. I'll eat your children, all this stuff. Like, Mike Tyson was crazy back then, but then it was more understanding the psychology behind it. He had been to prison, he had a rough life, but then he had Cus D'Amato, who was his trainer, who had a big impact on his life, took him out of that. So it was understanding all of that stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually studying this. Like, this is much better than my friend doing economics around the corner, or, I was just looking at it completely different. Like, this is sick. And then on top of that, you had physiology, so you're actually learning about the body. I'm active, so it kind of, I don't know, you're learning something, and then I might be playing basketball, but now I'm actually thinking about what's going on in my body as I'm doing all of this. And then you're looking at people like Kobe Bryant, all these things. So it was like, I was studying what I was really interested in, man, without knowing it, but I'm getting into the science of it. So long story short, I came out of that BTEC with a triple distinction, from 3 GCSEs, me personally, I didn't think it was possible, but I enjoyed it that much. I was like, okay, cool, I can go uni now. Really, uni for me, I was in it for my parents. But when I found that, I thought, okay, at least I'm interested, So applied for different unis. Brighton was one, Coventry was another. I'm happy I didn't go Coventry. And then Portsmouth. But initially, I went to visit Brighton, and I was kind of sold. Like, that's where I'm going. It was in Eastbourne. At the time, again, there were loads of different things happening in my area. People were going to prison, people had died. So I kind of wanted out. I wanted out of London, man. I wanted out because I was just like, yeah, it's just getting a bit too much. I can see where everyone's lives are going. People who were innocent and they weren't, they were cool back in the day. Now I'm hearing stories about them. I'm like, damn, like, that's crazy. Like, he did what? Why is he doing that? He wasn't like that. So I could just see the way things were going. I was like, you know, I need out of London. So Brighton, I was sold, but then I had a cousin who was at Portsmouth. I spoke to her. She was like, "Oh yeah, you can come here. It's all right here. Like, you should just visit, just see what you think." So I came, visited, and the fact that the city was, or the uni was, the city was molded around the uni in that sense. And then at the time, a good friend of mine was in a similar situation to me. He had said, "I'm going Hertfordshire." I was like, "I'm going Brighton." But then after I viewed Portsmouth, I was like, "You know what? I think I'm going to go Portsmouth, you know, I'm going to change it." He was like, "Yeah, you going Portsmouth?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "That's my second choice, you know." I was like, "Okay, what are you saying then? What do you want to do?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going Portsmouth as well then." I was like, "Yeah, yeah. Come, let's change and let's go." So that was our decision to go. And that kind of pushed me a little bit more. And then, yeah, we came here, and again, it was another episode, sort of like flicking the book over. Like, I'd done the college, London, everything, all of that. Flip the page over, now I'm in Portsmouth. So another interesting experience.
Wow. So come down to Portsmouth, sports science?
Yep.
And then, how was uni life from you? So obviously you went from, London and you've gone to uni. What was uni life saying for you? Yeah.
Interesting. You know what? I'll be honest with you. By the time I come to uni, I was already grown up. I think I've always been wise beyond my years. When I was young, I was doing things that adults would do. So when I came to uni, Freshers Week, I remember going to Freshers Week and I thought, everyone here's just too excited, man. It's not my, it's not my vibe. Everyone's too excited. Like, I was going to house parties when I was 15, 16, you know, this is too much. And then it's funny because came to uni, you're thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna make new friends, I'm gonna meet new people, da-da-da." And then I ended up meeting people, a lot of them are good friends of mine now, but I ended up meeting people who were mutual friends of my friends in London. So now there's like 20 of us, but we just stick to us. So even though I'm in Portsmouth, I'm meeting new people, I didn't really like, I only spoke, on my course, you're talking like 200 people in my year group. I probably spoke to 5 people. Because at home, I say at home because I moved in with these guys. Even at one point, there was one house here and literally another house here. So we were all on the same road. Yeah. So it got to a point where we just became our own unit. So I didn't really feel like I needed to go out there and make friends and do all that because I had this core group of mine. So yeah, interesting times, man. We had a lot of fun, I'll say that. But I was always that guy out of everyone. Every lecture I was at, I'm in the library during the day or I'm working. At night, I have fun. Like on the weekend, I have all the fun. But Monday to Friday, library, lectures, all of that kind of stuff. I was just in there doing that. I think I created like good bond relationships, whatever you want to call it, with lecturers. And yeah, my first year was all right, you get through it. My second year was okay. Then I got into a little bit of trouble, I'm not gonna lie. I got into a bit of a car crash and it just turned into something else. So I deferred the rest of the year. Back to my family, sorry mum, but my family wanted me to kind of hide that from everyone. Just kind of, "Oh, say you're doing a work experience here or something." But for me, I was like, "Nah, man, like, I'm done. Like, why am I lying to people? Like, I'm just gonna be real. Like, I deferred the year, that's it." And that was pretty stressful. And then came back in my second year. And again, goodish year. I think I ended that on a 2-2. And then my third year, I went absolute beast mode at uni. Absolute beast mode. Because I think by then, I'd had all my fun. I was over everything. I was over the whole uni thing. I was just like, yo, let's just get this work done. So went absolute beast mode and then came out with a first.
Nice.
I was working at the same time as well at the university gym. I think I got a job there first year summer. So since then, I'd been working the whole way through. And then I didn't know what to do after that was done. So I decided to do a master's in sports psychology. By then, that core group of friends I was talking about, majority of them had left. Some of them were repeating and doing whatnot. Majority had gone back. So it was literally just me, a few people that were on my master's that I was cool with. And then, yeah, got through that. And then again, I'm there thinking, what am I gonna do? So I just stayed doing what I was doing at the uni. I got more qualifications under my belt, which is great because qualifications always help. And then eventually came back to London.
Okay. So yeah, just on that then. So you said like you really worked hard for uni, but before that you said you wouldn't have gone to uni if it wasn't for your parents. So what do you think you would have done?
Good question. All right. You know what? I do ask myself this sometimes because sometimes I look back and I think, was uni a waste of time? Did I really need to do that? Maybe just in the position I'm at now, thinking from a more business mindset, maybe I should have just got a trade and gone hard on that trade and then create a business. And then now my parents would be financially free. You know, that's how I think now. Back then though, I think I needed to go to uni because if I stayed in London, I would have got into trouble. More trouble than I was in, I think. If I also was big into music, so I probably would have got, but the music comes trouble. I'm sorry to say, but it's the truth, innit? So, music and trouble. What else would I have been doing, man? Honestly, bro, I don't know. When I look at, and this isn't to be disrespectful, but when I look at a lot of my friends that didn't go uni and stayed in London and just worked and they're still trying to figure it out. I get it. But I feel like me going to uni in some way has put me in a better stead in that respect. Because yeah, I came out of uni feeling lost, but I know people who were lost before I went to uni, and even now I speak to them, we're still lost, we're still trying to find out what's going on. But with me, I've had this education. The thing about uni as well, I think, that is underrated about it, it's not necessarily what you're learning, it's how you learn. So from like my master's, for example, you can give me any concept right now, in any discipline, you can give me anything right now, I'll absorb it and put it into action straight away. And I think that was purely for my master's. If I didn't do my master's, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So yeah, if I wasn't at uni, I'll be honest with you, man, and this is me being completely honest, I probably just would have been in the mix of a lot of stuff. And again, I want to big up my parents, but it's got nothing to do with them. It's more the environment. The environment was just, at the time, ruthless, man. So just off that, because you're in a ruthless environment, it's gonna make you into something, innit? It's up to you as a person, yes, but being an only child, I was very easily influenced by people. So if I saw someone doing something and I thought it was kind of cool, I'm going in that same direction. That's how it was when I was younger. So only when I got a bit older and now I've got the uni and things that, okay, if I go do that, I'm gonna mess this up. So nah, I'm staying indoors, I'm not going anywhere. So yeah, it's a good question, man. I have no idea. I wanna say I'll still be the kind of person I am now, but it's hard to say, innit?
So cool, you come out of uni and you went back to London. What drew you there? What did you do? How'd it go?
What drew me back to London? I think in my mind at that time when I finished uni, I always said to myself, I'm going back because, you know, London's the big city, man. Everyone wants to go to London, let's be honest. They want to spend some kind of time there. So that's home for me. I kind of wanted to go back home. I wanted to be in an environment where, you know, I'm not saying I feel like I had to be someone different when I was in Portsmouth, because I'm always myself. But then I was never like, I could be a certain way, I could talk a certain way, and people would question it in Portsmouth. In London, no one's questioning it. I can just be me, you know? Initially though, saying that, I was going for jobs. I was going for different jobs because, like I said, I was kind of lost on what I wanted to do, and I knew it had to be something bigger than just personal training. So I was trying to go for like business development jobs and all that kind of stuff in the city, and you know, you have to do all those maths tests and all that stuff, bro. And I was like, I got into an interview. I did all of that. Got into an interview. I dressed up sharp, looked good, smelled good, you know. I get to the interview. I'm being myself, yeah, because I don't want to be fake. I want to give you exactly who I am, but I'm still respectful and all that kind of stuff. I was raised from a good home, so I'm just being me. And I think when I got, they called me back, I thought the interview went well. And obviously I've gone for so many different jobs. So when I've got this interview, I thought, yeah, cool. I think I've got that. Like, I've gone through it all. It's in Chancery Lane. Is it Chancery Lane? Them kind of areas in London, like proper city life. I thought, yeah, this could be all right. And then they called me back. They was like, oh, unfortunately, you didn't get the job, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, okay, what was the feedback? Why didn't I get the job? Something about being too assertive. I think that's the one that really hit me, innit? You're too assertive, like, and I was thinking, what? Did I intimidate you? Like, I don't know. What do you mean I'm too assertive? What does that mean? You know? So, yeah, from that, I was just like, you know what? Forget this. I can't be bothered. I'm not doing those kind of jobs. I'm too assertive. I've gone through all these tests. What do you want me to be? Like, cool and collected? Then you'll think I'm too laid back. So I just said, you know what? Forget all this stuff that I'm applying for. I'm just going to stick to what I know. Let's see if I can get a PT job. Now, another thing as well with sports science, there's so many different things you can go into, but it's more education, more training. And for example, let's talk a sports psychologist in football. Yeah, I love football. So a player is getting paid a couple $100,000 a week. As a sports psychologist at the top level, we're talking 60 grand a year. And you know, like even during my masters, we were going through all that and looking at all these options. And even the lecturers, they were just keeping it real with us. Like, think about how much a football player earns. Think about how much a manager earns. And the manager earns less than a football player. And then sports psychologist, this is what you're getting. Yeah, you get all the nice experience, lovely experience, but with that 60K a year, if you're living in London, where's that going to take you? And I just started putting things in my mind. So I was really unsure, because that would be something I'd love to do, but if I'm working just as hard as the manager or the players to put things together and I'm getting paid this little, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, even back then I knew that don't make sense. So I just said, let me stick to what I know. Let me just go into personal training. I had an unfortunate situation as well where my mum and dad's house got broken into. I'm happy to say on cam, like, deep down, I think I know who it was, even when it happened, but, or the people who were involved. And that as well made me say, I need to go back to London, because that can't run. Like, I don't want that happening again. What if my parents were in? You know, like, all these things, they proper smashed the window, I've done all this stuff. And when I say I know who it is, it's not anyone that I have any problems with. I think it's someone who, at the time, was quite cool. We were cool, but they have tendencies, innit? And they do certain things. I've heard and seen things. So anyway, let me just put that to the side. So off all of that, I said, nah, I think I need to come back and maybe get a personal training job. So this is the funniest thing. I applied for Virgin Active. I applied for different gyms, but Virgin, I said to myself, they're probably the best gyms. So let me apply there. Applied there, did the interview. The manager loved me. He was like, you're gonna fit in here. The only thing, you need to go to the headquarters and go through this thing that we put all the personal trainers through and this and that. I was like, yeah, no problem. He's like, but when you go there, you have to put your top 3 places you want to be. Make sure you put this place as your top because I want you here. I was like, all right, cool, no problem. He's telling me this in the interview, so I've basically bagged the job, talking about being too assertive. But I've got it. So I went to the headquarters and smashed it. I was one of the top people. Everyone kind of wanted me from that. But I said, no, I've already committed to this place. It's in my area of London. It's easy for me to commute. I don't want to take train and come into the city anymore. I'm past all of that. I don't want to do that anymore. So yeah, I went there and yeah, it was really good. I learned a lot. The thing is about when you're going to uni, you learn theory, but then putting it into practical form, yeah, I had that because I was being a personal trainer there anyway in Portsmouth, but even amongst the personal trainers in Portsmouth, I feel like I'd hit a bit of a ceiling. When I went to London now, different level, and I learned so much. And then the graft of that, I think it's just the graft as well, like 16-hour days, you know, like really, really grafting through. There was another gym that I applied for. I got a job there, so I was doing bits over there. I had a friend who had a gym. I was doing like 1-2 little bits for him there as well. But then I kind of burnt out real quick and realized, all right, I need to drop everything, maybe just focus on Virgin because that's the main one. So yeah, that's where I kind of, I don't know, my PT game kind of elevated. And even, but the thing is, I was okay with my PT game elevating even if the money wasn't necessarily. I thought, all right, we might be able to piece this together somehow. But from what I'm learning and what I'm doing here, like I can use the gym when I want, I can use the sauna, swim, all that kind of stuff. Like when I actually think about it for my lifestyle, that's probably the best I've ever been. You do all your sessions in the morning and in the evening, you got the middle of the day to do whatever you want. And I was driving at the time, so I could come home, I could go chill with my friend over here. I could do whatever I wanted to do in the day, as long as I've got my slots in the morning and the evening, or I could just stay in the gym and then go to the cafe, eat some food, do some reading. So in terms of that lifestyle, that PT lifestyle, man, it's great. It was really good. And I enjoyed that sort of period. I'm trying to remember your question now.
Well, no, we can just carry on.
Yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
it's all going well. So, what was that sort of point? When did you stop? Why did you stop?
So, all right, before I get there, 2019, I went to visit a friend and I was driving home. I was driving through Clapham, early Saturday night, like early Saturday evening, maybe like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So the bars are filling up.
Street good times.
Yeah. The bars are filling up, but I'm in the car in traffic and I'm just looking around for a second. Because I think I even left my friend's house because they were about to go out. I wasn't really on going out. So I said, I'm going home. And then something just hit me, man. It's like I was hypnotized in the moment. Everything went silent. And I was just sitting there thinking, everything needs to change. Like, this isn't right. I shouldn't be here. Like, I don't know what it was. Something happened. And then that's when I started thinking, how do I elevate off this PT thing? Because now I'm at a good level, but I'm earning scraps and it's not really working for me. In order for me to earn more, I have to cut corners. I've cut a lot of corners in my past, and I know where that led me. So I use that. That's my discipline, to not cut corners. Just stay on the straight and narrow, and your blessings will come towards you. That's how I operate. So yeah, that hit me, and it was on my mind, racking on my mind for ages. And then 2020. So I went back to London 2018. 2020 hit. And then again, 2020, it started off okay. I was getting up, doing 10K runs, had some weights in my back garden, training in my back garden. Get up when you want, not necessarily go sleep when you want, but I was living my own kind of life. And I have to be honest with you, London was different during COVID. People were still outside. Like, they were, like, you could drive past, what was that park I used to drive past? Tootenbeck. And bro, just filled with people. You wouldn't think it's COVID. Working out, running, people are playing with their kids. The weather was so nice that summer. So yeah, it was different. And I just thought to myself, you know what? I don't really want to work for anyone again. That's when it hit me. Like, I don't want to work for anyone, because Virgin really were just draining my time and energy and giving me peanuts. Like, I need to put myself in a position where if they're charging £100 and something per session, why can't I charge that? Because I'm the one delivering it. So I was things were starting to go a little bit different in my mind, and I was just thinking different. And in all honesty as well, this is just me being completely honest, I'm back in London. I'm mixing in with friends that maybe I shouldn't be mixing with. So I'm seeing certain things. And I was just like, nah, this ain't right. Something's got to change. And then one day I'm in the garden. I know exactly when it happened. I can explain it now. So I'm in the garden. I didn't warm up my shoulders. I've got pretty small shoulders, slender shoulders, but it is what it is. Saying that people train to your body types, yeah? Don't try and force the big thing, because it's not worth it. So I'm training my shoulders, but what I've done, like an idiot, I haven't warmed them up properly, and I've gone straight onto the big weight. I've warmed up, but I haven't warmed up my shoulders. Yeah, so I've gone straight onto the big weight. And I remember I was pushing this dumbbell, and I heard a ping in my ear. Didn't think anything of it. I was thinking, that's weird. Then all of a sudden, like, this kind of area just started feeling a little bit weird. Maybe, you're training. Maybe it's something light, like, it's cool, don't think about it too much. I'm using my massage ball on my arm now, thinking, yeah, that will get rid of it. And then slowly, my left side of my body over months was just becoming more and more paralyzed. This arm was twitching a lot, especially when I was stressed. That's when I noticed it. This arm will twitch crazy, can't control it. And yeah, it was a weird, very, very weird time. 2020 had, like, the COVID lockdown had an effect on everyone. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone was affected. So at the time, I'm home with my parents, and my mum's getting up every day for work, but she's working from home. My dad's at home. They've said he has to stay at home for his health conditions. And I'm here more or less gallivanting, yeah? Let's just be real. So naturally, a lot of frustration built up in my house. I'm not scared to talk about it now, because we're over it as a family, yeah? So I'm going through this thing, not talking about it, by the way, because that's just how I handle stuff. I just get on. Not a good thing to do, by the way. And I'm going through things with my parents. My friends are being affected in some kind of way. So now I'm going through things with friends. I'm seeing friends moving different. I'm moving different. I think I moved out the house at one point. And this thing was just getting worse and worse. One time, I went to Sainsbury's in Colliers Wood, and I'm walking up the escalator thing. It's not escalator though, not the steps one. Yeah. So I'm going up that, and all of a sudden, literally at the bottom, I didn't need to go to the toilet. I'm at the middle of this thing. I'm bursting. Like, I need to go to the toilet now. But I'm limping. I can't walk fast. I don't know where the toilet is. Bro, long story short, I ended up pissing myself, man. I went back in the car, went home, and I really don't mind talking about it now because I've been through it. I just cried, man. I was thinking, what the hell is happening to me? Like, this is crazy. I'm just out in public, 20-something-year-old man, I'm pissing myself. Like, what's going on? So, yeah, weird time. I went to a lady was a good friend of mine's mum to massage me. Like, she's a masseuse, so she was massaging me, and she was like, my daughter told me you run 10K in under an hour. I was like, yeah. She was like, Kobbii, I'm gonna be honest with you. You have to go to A&E right now. I was like, why? She was like, if you run 10K in under an hour and all of a sudden this thing's happening to you, something's happened. Like, you need to go to hospital right now. If I don't hear from you tomorrow that you've gone to hospital, wherever you are, I'm gonna find you and I'm taking you to the hospital. I was like, oh, all right, cool. I'm not a big fan of hospitals, but cool. So I left there, went to the hospital. They done all their tests on me again. I don't like hospitals. You're in there all day, sitting in one place taking blood, sitting in another place taking blood. They're doing all these things. I'm thinking, oh, this is just getting annoying. So I spent my whole day there. Come out, bear in mind, in my mind, I'm depressed. So come out, I believe that was like a Wednesday. On the Friday, they called me at a different hospital. They was like, yeah, we just got your results and your x-rays and everything. Basically, you need to come in ASAP so we can operate. I was like, operate? What are you talking about? He's like, well, we can explain more when you get here, but you need to come in now so we can book you in for Monday. I'm like, what? What are you talking to me about right now? Like, yeah, come in now. So I went to the hospital. And yeah, exactly like they said, that's when they explained to me I'd slipped a disc in my neck and the disc was leaning on my spinal cord. So that's the reason why more and more the paralyzed feeling was coming here. The toilet sensation was just happening out of nowhere. And it kind of just made sense. So I went in on the Sunday. Monday I was operated on, and I think I was out on the Wednesday. I felt the difference automatically. Wow. But they said to me, you can't train for 2 years. You can't do no gym activity. You can't do anything for 2 years. So again, I'm healed, but I'm in another position now. I can't do anything, you know? My mum thought I was crazy. Like, I went back to the house with this neck brace on, not even a neck brace, but the whole thing on. And I just got straight back in my car. I was like, now I'm going home and I need to make some things happen. Like, I can't sit still. Like, I need to do something. It's crazy when I think about it, man. Even just turning around in the car to look behind me to reverse or something. It was I don't know what I was playing at the time. But yeah, so I just went through that dark moment. And that takes up to what, 2021? Yeah, it was a crazy time. So yeah, that kind of, the way I say it to people, I woke up with new eyes when I came out of that operating room. Like, everything was different in my mind. I was thinking about everything 10 times over before I come to a decision. If someone told me something and they wanted me to decide on it, no, I have to sleep. And then I'll come back to you. I'm not gonna tell you now. Like, everything really has to be in my control, in my mind now. Like, so everything kind of changed. I was looking at friends. I was able to understand my mum's situation a little bit more, even though there's still some sort of frustration there at the time. I was able to understand where she was coming from. Like, I was able to understand everything. I don't know, I woke up with new eyes, man. So I saw everything kind of different. And instead of feeling sorry for myself or having grudges against people. I tried my best to just put everything aside. Whoever I needed in my life at the time, who in my life, whoever I needed to mend relationships with, time will do that. And I understood that, maybe not now, over time. And then I just felt like I need to sort myself out and put myself in a place, because in 5 years' time, everything about my life has to be different. Every single thing. I want to wake up and everything I'm seeing now in 2021, I'm not seeing anymore. Everything has to change. And maybe that's why I'm here now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, from that day where you opened your eyes after the operation. Wow. So what brought you back down to Portsmouth then? Why Portsmouth? Why didn't you just go somewhere else?
So initially I did want to go somewhere else. I wanted to go up north, man. I wanted to disappear, like literally. I wanted to disappear. Obviously at the time it was kind of hard to leave the country, but I wanted to disappear. So I was thinking up north. One time I came home, I went on Rightmove. I was like, right, where's the most remote place in the north of England? I'm going there today and I'm gonna find a place. But then I had to just go back and think, I'm like, nah, it's not that deep. Just think about this. So my partner, at the time, I guess, we always had a friendship, but our relationship kind of built around that time, understandably, because I was going through what I was going through. She had her own thing as well. She's got her own story. But like we was even talking about the other day, she was like, in a way, it's kind of good that happened, because she felt like she had to step up for me. And if she didn't do that, maybe we wouldn't be where we are now, you know? So she really stepped up in so many different ways. I never asked her to do anything. I think if anything, I was pushing her away. You know what I mean? I didn't want her involved. But she's from Portsmouth. So one day, I'm having one of my down days. She's like, I've booked this course for us to go on. It's a property course. I'm like, what am I going to do at a property course, man? Seriously, she was like, well, you're coming. I paid for it, so you're coming. It's in the Village Hotel. At the time, I don't even think I'd been to the Village. But she's like, yeah, it's in Village Hotel. You're coming down for it. So I came down, went to the course, and a lot of people can say what they want to say about these property courses. But for where I was at that moment in time, I was fully inspired, fully. Because this guy is standing up at the front, pissing me off, man. He's saying things like, I dropped out of school, I'm dumb. Yet I've got a property portfolio of 25 million and it's growing, guys. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm thinking, I went to uni, I've gone through all my trials and tribulations, I've gone through all this stuff. I've got this guy standing up there, looking unhealthy, telling me that he's done the complete opposite and become a huge success. So I'm thinking, this is mind-blowing. And like I said to you, I'm one of those people, I can learn something and put it into action. So he was saying all these things that I had no idea about. By the time I came out, I could have a conversation with someone about property, like I've been doing it for 10 years. So that's when me and Nargis were like, all right, how do we do this property thing? What do? We don't have money, but what can we do? The first thing, all right, we need to get clued up more on this stuff. So let's do more courses, which we did. We was able to wiggle our way through and do things. And then part of that whole thing was pick your patch, the area you're gonna focus on. So I'm gonna be honest with you, randomly, I picked Huddersfield. We even went up there, had a look at the place. I remember I was doing viewings, so I was putting deals together. We were doing all types of things. We went up there twice. Yeah, drove up there, man, in my smart car. We went up there. We were doing whatever we were doing up there. I liked it. It was different to London. But then we came back and I think we just put two and two together. And then my old job, uni job, they were in the middle of moving from where they were into the new building they're at now, Ravelin. So I was like, yeah, okay, maybe it makes sense to go to Portsmouth, man, because I've got those people there. I know them quite well. They're quite fond of me. I've got my connections there still, and then Nargis obviously has her people here, so it makes sense. Let me just go. Let me just go down there. So we went. I came down to Portsmouth, November 2021, and then started a property networking event January 2022. Didn't last long in that job because, like I said to you, I didn't really want to work for anyone, and I wanted control of my time. So when I go in there and you're giving me part-time, you're going to work these hours. And I understand they had a few things going on. So dynamics, things had to change and they're changing my hours and I have to do this. And I was like, no. You know what? It doesn't work for me. I can't do this anymore. Unfortunately, because I had a great relationship with those guys. So I hope it didn't come off any kind of way. But at the time, it probably was quite ruthless on my end. But then, yeah, we started a property networking event January 2022. That was our way of starting from nothing. And then like 30 people turned up. We gave out free Prosecco. So I guess that's what got everyone to the party. And then February came, no Prosecco, 6 people. March, probably like 8 people. April, up to 12. Then it just started growing a little bit. We're meeting people who have done the same courses we've done. So yeah, that's where things really started to happen and form. So it really all comes down to my partner, man. She's the one that really brought me down here and sort of inspired that vision. And then I kind of took it and ran with it.
Wow, so that happened then. And so we'll take us back again. So the vegan thing. You're a vegan. You're strictly vegan, or?
Strictly, yeah. I try and get away from the vegan word, I'll be honest with you, bro.
Okay.
I don't know what to call it though, because you could call it plant-based, I guess. You know, I feel like it doesn't need a title, man. But what did you want me to speak more about that journey, or?
Yeah, because yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued, really. Yeah, and why not vegan? Why don't you think it should be a word?
Okay, actually, let me just dispel that first of all. I think vegan is too political.
Interesting.
It's too political. When you say vegan, there's so many different things that get attached to it. Animal rights, I can't wear leather, all these things. And for me, yeah, I'll just take it down to the basics of things. So obviously I'm learning and studying the human body, and I'm also learning and studying nature naturally, like just how nature is. And then I watched a documentary called What the Health, and that opened up my eyes big time, man. I never ate pork anyway. I think that was a conscious thing that I stopped doing. But then I used to love lamb, curry goat, Jesus. I used to love all that, like fufu and soup with my meat. I love it. But I had an understanding of what it was doing to the body. Because like I'm saying, even when I was studying sports science and I'll learn certain things, I'll experiment on myself and then realize, oh, okay, that's how that works. This is how this works. So I was doing the same thing with the food naturally when I was finished my master's. So we're talking like 2015, 2016. So I would do a thing where during the week, I would just be plant-based, if you want to call it that. And then on the weekend, I'll have my fun in it. Like I'll have my curry goat, I'll have my fufu, I'll have my Nando's, whatever you want to call it. And then I had one situation where I went out with someone. We got some Nando's, took it back to where we was at and decided to watch boxing. I think it was David Hay fighting that night. He fought that big giant guy. I can't remember, and knocked him out. I remember I was gassed that day. And then we went out for drinks. I don't drink anymore, but at the time we went out for drinks. And then when I get back, I just started feeling a bit weird. And now I'm being sick. I'm throwing up. And I was just thinking, this is weird. Like, I can hold my drink. What's happening? I'm not one to drink and act crazy. I can be completely out of it, but you wouldn't know. So now I'm being sick and all this stuff, and I'm thinking, what's going on? And it's consistent. And then now I'm on the toilet. So it just got real bad that night. And then I had to take an Imodium and it stopped everything. And then realized, oh, it was food poisoning because that Nando's was a little bit dodgy. And it was Nando's Shepherd's Bush. I'm not afraid to call you out, man. So yeah, that happened. And from that day onwards, I said, that's it. No more meat. And I feel like the journey was going there anyway, because I was getting into my food more. I was getting into my cooking more. I was like, I prefer my cooking to going out and eating anyway. But I did like a cheeky Nando's. But after that day, I said, nah, that's it. I can't do that anymore. So I think that was sometime in 2016. And then from then onwards, again, when I got to like Virgin, and I told everyone I was plant-based and this and that. At first, I remember my old manager used to look at me. He was like, mate, you need to eat some meat or something, man. You're a twig. Like, if you're going to be a PT in this, I remember him saying to me, if you're going to be a PT in this gym, you need to look the part and this and that. And I was like, what, you don't think I look the part? He was like, nah, you don't look the part. I'm going to train you on Monday. I was like, all right, cool. You can train me. He trained me. And then at the end of the session, he just looked at me, he's like, okay, I'll be honest with you, I'm quite impressed. I was like, it's not all about looks, is it? Like, he's like, no, I'm impressed. Your fitness level, you're probably one of the fittest PTs here. I was like, yeah, it's because I'm plant-based. That was my joke, innit? It's because I'm plant-based, that's why. And he was like, nah, like, you've shown me something different here. So he even said to me, you should use that in your PT profile, or when you're teaching classes, you should use that, like, because you seem to be doing something completely different to everybody else, but it's working for you. So he actually leveled. I think I might have taught him something that day. And every time, because he would train all of us to make sure we were on top of our game. But with me, he was always like, I'm just trying to try and find ways to push you to the next level, because I can see that you're always elevating in your training. So, yeah, I tried to do certain things and introduce people to it back then. And, you know, it was a big conversation, this whole vegan thing, it was brand new and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of stuck with it through my training. And then obviously when I went through the stuff that I went through, again, I stayed plant-based, but I added an extra thing to it now. I added fasting. And I think that took things to another level, maybe even to, you could say, mentally and spiritually, because like, even for example, me, I know how to listen to my gut feeling. If my gut's telling me something, no, I can't do that. Like, or just step away and get out of that situation. Or this person might be a nice person, they're cool, but there's something telling me, you know what, keep your distance. Like, so there were different things that were happening during that time, and I just thought, it has to be the food. I know it sounds crazy, but gut health and clearing your gut, and then the things that you add back into your gut and the effect that it can have on you. Obviously, I was going through a really hard time, but then I'll have days where, you know, I done like a 36-hour fast, and I was on such a high, you know, like my energy levels was crazy. My mind was like working, but in a good way. Like, there were so many different things. So combined together, I just thought to myself, you know what, I've got something here that majority of people don't understand the power that comes with it. Somehow, I want to introduce it to people through my food, and then maybe the lifestyle bit can kick in. So I remember when I was at my mum's house at the time, I said to myself, when I move out of here, I just need to have a place where I've got a kitchen and I'm going to start something. And then I moved out, but I was in a shared house, loads of different people in and out of the house, man. It was crazy. And then I realized kitchen space here, I can't even do anything here, man. It doesn't make sense. So after that, I said, once I move again, so whether we move to Huddersfield or Portsmouth, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna try something. So then, like I said, we moved to Portsmouth November 21. April 2022, I just said, you know what? I'm gonna set up a table at South Sea Seafront, put some food together, give it out, and launch my business. Before that, a few months before that, I've got a cousin who runs a kitchen in London. They cook Ghanaian food, some Caribbean food as well, but mainly Ghanaian food. And that's it. It was Ramadan. I'm not Muslim, but respectfully, I take part in Ramadan. So I did it for the first time that year. And on Eid, I was giving out my food. And then my cousin hit me. He was like, what are you doing after you give out this food? I was like, I'm just in the area. He was like, come to my area, come see me. Let's talk. So I went to go see him and he's just like, so what do you want to do? Like, da, 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 da. So we started talking and he was just like, let's come up with a name. And he's working at the time. Like, this is another story actually. I don't think I've even told him this. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. But I went there and they're cleaning chicken. I'm plant-based, I'm not thinking of it at the time. We're brainstorming a name and then all of a sudden, I feel sick. And I had to go to the toilet and be sick. Wow. And he's come around like, cuz, you're right. I'm like, I'm good, don't worry. Like, I'm fine. He's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, because I'm one of those people, when I'm going through my stuff, I don't like people seeing. So I kind of was closed off behind and just doing what I needed to do. And they came back, acted completely normal throughout the whole thing. And I think I was there till like 4 a.m, man, in his kitchen that he's got, brainstorming. But then, yeah, that episode, and even that was interesting to me. Like, I couldn't have the smell anymore of the raw chicken. This is what I'm trying to say. It was I can't explain these things, but yeah, so we were brainstorming and then we came up with the name Raw Fusion. And then that's when I said, yeah, all right, I'm going to hold on to this Raw Fusion name. And when I start something, that's what it's going to be called. Sounds cool, bit trendy. We're sort of thinking of it like, if someone's going to the shop, what are they going to say? Like, oh yeah, I'm going Raw Fusion. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Like, so we kind of came up with it that way. And then, yeah, I said I was going to start that. So April 2022, we started that on the beach front. I just gave out my food. Everyone gave me good feedback on the food. I was like, okay, I'm onto something. Then I said, every weekend I'm going to cook food and whoever's interested, I'll deliver it to you. So I was doing that quite a bit. And then I started networking, meeting more people tasted the food. I'm doing the property stuff. My first son came, everything started happening. So it's just been a thing where we've had to kind of take our time with it and make sure we're doing the right thing and getting it out the right way. So, yeah, that's how all that came about.
Wow, Raw Fusion, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's mad.
That's mad. So even to this day, you can't like bear the smell of raw food,
raw meat. I don't think so, you know. I mean, if I was to go somewhere right now and there's raw meat, I'm not saying I'll be sick straight away, but then saying that, I met them lot, him and his missus, I met them, Mama J's Kitchen. By the way, if you're in London, Mama J's Kitchen, if you're around West London, definitely order them up, man. They got good food. But I was there I'll be honest, I was there for like 4 or 5 hours in that room, you know? So I think it just got to me at that point, you know? It's like I can walk into a room with raw meat, but again, I smell it differently. Nowadays, if I eat something that's got butter, I can tell straight away. If it's got a hint of milk, like someone didn't read the back of the carton properly and gave it to me, I could taste it. Then I'll be like, let me see the back of that carton. It's like, no, don't worry, it's no milk, nothing. I'm like, no, let me see it. And then I'll be like, look, milk in bold. or there'll be like skim milk. I was like, yeah, I can taste it. That's how significant my taste buds are now. So, yeah, crazy experience, but all good. The way I look at it is all good experiences. Even though I had to be sick and whatnot, it's still all good. It was blessing, I guess.
Interesting. So, okay, cool. You got Raw Fusion and you got Portsmouth Property Connect, and so you run monthly events.
Yes, so we were doing that. I've taken a break. I'm gonna call it a break. In summer, we ran a boardroom meeting. I interviewed a guy called Mark Smith, very prominent property entrepreneur down here. Pleasure to do it. We did it at Portsmouth Football Club. I kind of wanted to aim high and do it up nice, because we had done something in Christmas that went really well as well. So I thought, let me do that. But then afterwards, summertime, I'm trying to promote the next event. It wasn't going as I wanted it to. And then I thought, you know what? Portsmouth is great. I've met so many interesting people, but we kind of need to extend our reach. It can't just be Portsmouth anymore. And I think there's a greater plan to what I'm doing, which is hard to explain because I'm doing it. I don't know if that makes much sense, but my mind runs at 100 miles per hour. I can't put into words what I'm trying to do. I just do it. Like, so my thing is, because Portsmouth Property Connect essentially is me at the center of it. Yeah, Portsmouth is Portsmouth, but I'm also from somewhere else. So that being the case, why limit what I'm doing in Portsmouth to Portsmouth? I can show the world what Portsmouth's doing with property, because I don't think there's any other town or city in the UK that's doing it like Portsmouth. That's just my opinion. I think down here, there's a different culture and a different vibe about business, and it's great. I love it. So it's just time to shine out on the world. I think the world is changing. We're going into a different phase in general. So that's kind of my idea behind it. And I think the monthly events were becoming a bit taxing on me. I'm one of those people as well. I like to do things differently. In school, for example, when you're growing up in school, it was all about doing things that are cool. Yeah, like that's what got you your friends. That's what got you the girls. That's what got you that kind of attention in that kind of way. Now, I'm not saying I'm after that kind of stuff, but because I've been doing that for so long, or been in that realm for so long, it's in me. Anything that I do, I want it to be cool. I want it to be a thing where people come along and they feel like, okay, this is a business and I've got to do up my tie and, you know, sit up straight and speak a certain way to the person next to me. No, be your complete self. Let people see who you actually are. Have a nice, relaxed conversation. Yeah, we're keeping it around property, but let it be light. And then when you start trading value between each other naturally, maybe the conversation of business can come outside of this room from that. And that was always my idea. Like, let's just have a comfortable environment where everyone can feel good, but you're talking about property, you're trying to solve problems. And I think we came into it at a time where 2022, for example, property prices were just going up, and up. And houses were flying, like, off the property market. Like, things were coming on market and within 4 weeks it sold. Within 3 weeks it sold. Like, there were things coming and going. And then 2023 came and all that stopped. Property prices started going down slightly. And things just changed. So we came into it at a very interesting time where it's like, okay, let's try and solve problems. A lot of people have buy-to-let properties. We've got property managers here that could potentially take on your property and manage it differently to increase your yields. So without me actually saying, you meet this person, no, I'm just going to put you in a room. Let's see what happens. I don't really believe in eating off someone else's money. there were people who I was working with and not necessarily working with, but kind of mentored me in a certain way in this property thing. I've kind of distanced myself a little bit now because they've got their own stuff going on, but their thing was very much so, off an introduction, you should be taking a cut. My thing is, it doesn't sit well with me. Like, that's how I'm making money off somebody else's. Fair enough, I know I've done the work and I've brought everyone in the room to introduce them to each other, but it just doesn't sit right on my heart that that's how I'm making my money. Or now the introduction's been made, but one of them might be dodging me, so I have to make phone calls and do all that. And then now I have to be assertive. I have to bring it outside of myself in business that really, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that person at all. I'll say open-heartedly, and maybe this goes against me sometimes, but then again, I'm only 2 and a bit years into this, but I'm not about the shark business in business. Like, I don't want to be in a sea full of sharks. I don't. If anything, I want to be in a place full of, let's say, beings that are vibrating on a very high level to a level where it's more about the love of what you do. You know, that's the highest level of anything, it's love. Yeah, so it's out of the love of what you do. And naturally, you're making things happen and benefiting and serving people. Now from there, I don't mind doing that. That weighs good on my heart. Okay, financially, it might be a burden to me initially, but I genuinely feel like in the long run, that kind of energy, if you're putting that out there, it's going to come back to you. That's just how I feel. So, yeah, the monthly events may come back. I've got to have a few conversations after this, actually, because 1 or 2 people are approaching me saying, nah, like, you can't just let that go. We need to do something. And maybe it's a thing where I need help. That's also a problem that I have. I don't know how to ask for help. I've actually had fallouts with friends and family over that because there may have been things going on where really maybe I should have asked for help, or maybe I've asked for help in a weird way, but they didn't get it. And then it's all of a sudden caused this thing. So maybe I need help on that respect. But my thing is now, let's take this stuff online. We're talking about things on our podcast, for example, that I don't see many people going into depth about on YouTube. So why not take advantage of this YouTube market and flood it and let people know what's going on here in Portsmouth and create opportunities for people who are really grafting down here, man. But business isn't easy, you know, but there's people here grafting every day. I see it. So if we can do something for them, you know, and make something happen for them, cool. And then off the back of that, maybe down the line, I might meet the right kind of people, the right community, or off Raw Fusion, I might make a bit of money, and then I say, okay, I'm going into my first development. This is what me and Nagas are doing, you know, and then we can start building from there. But for now, it's all about relationship building. One thing on that course that I was told that really stuck out to me, the first thing that this guy said was, property is a people business. When he said that to me, it's like I zoned out for a second and it echoed in my mind. Like, wow, that's powerful. I consider myself to be quite a people person. You can put me in any room. I'll be myself, but for some reason, I'll be able to interact with everyone. I've been in rooms where everyone's wearing a suit and I've come dressed casual, ripped jeans, jumper, but somehow I've left there with a lot of cards and people now have my name on their lips. Yeah. You know, because I'm just being me. Like, I don't mean to offend. I don't mean to be, come off any kind of way or not take your event seriously by coming dressed like this. But this is how I dress up. I don't wear suits. Like, it's not my thing. My dad will probably grill me and be like, you should be wearing a suit. But it's never been, I feel uncomfortable. I feel awkward. I want to wear clothes that I'm comfortable in, you know? And I want to be 100% myself. So, yeah. We're trying to do something different. And it's going to take a lot of pivoting. And that's what we're in the middle of at the moment.
I'm excited to see what happens there.
Yeah. So.
And I just want to dig a little bit there. So where do you think finding it hard to ask for help stems from?
Good question. Stubbornness. I'm stubborn. There's no doubt about it. I'm open-minded. I can listen. You know what, saying that, I'm a lot better now because like I said to you, someone could say something to me and I have to sleep on it. And then the next day I'll ponder, reason in my own mind and then think, you know what, maybe that person's right. Someone said to me the other day, the reason why you're not making as much money as you want to is because maybe you're too proud. Maybe your pride is too much. But they were telling me off their experience, once I dropped my pride and I just let things flow, that's when everything started happening. And yeah, I might have to sit under this person in order for that to happen. But yeah, I can be very stubborn, I think. My parents, not to say they don't ask for help, but my mum and dad, man, are relentless workers. They've just always got up, figured it out and done it. They were always the type to, if there's something going on in the family, I don't know any of it, or they're trying to hide it from me, I would find out from someone else. And then I'll come home and get pissed at them. Like, why didn't you tell me? Why has this person found out before me? Surely I should know, you know? So maybe it's a little bit of that. And then, of course, the environment I grew up in, man, you can't show any weakness. Not to say I was a certain level bad boy and I was doing all these things. I wasn't. I've always been a good kid, but you still can't show weakness, like, no matter who you are. So I think it's probably a mix of all those things. Now I think it's good where I'm with a woman, she can read me. So that helps. Because there'll be times where she'll tell me, yeah, I could tell there's something up with you today. Something's not right. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And she's like, no, there's something going on with you. Leave me alone, I'm fine. Have you eaten today? No, I haven't eaten. Then she'll be, all right, cool. She'll stay quiet. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. She'll bring me food. I'll eat. She'll be like, you feel better? Yeah, I do actually. She's like, yeah, you were hungry. I'm like, really? I was hungry? Is that what that is? And she's like, yeah, you're hungry. Like, you need to eat. I'm like, damn, I never thought of myself being hungry before. Like, okay, maybe men get hungry too. I don't know. But yeah, like, yeah, a lot of it, it's not even me realizing, but yeah, I really struggle to ask for help. I really struggle. I'm trying to break out of it. Maybe I just don't want to look weak, man. Maybe I just don't want to look like I haven't got things under control. I'm normally the person that everyone comes to, like, yeah, you know best, so what do I do here? And I'm like, I don't know best, but then when it's my turn, who am I turning to? That's another thing. Who do I talk to? When I was going through all that stuff I was going through in 2020, I genuinely feel like I didn't have anyone to talk to. Nargis could understand to a degree, but there were other things I couldn't talk to her about. Like, I couldn't get there. My dad as well is very, it's probably my dad as well. He's the same. He's like me. He doesn't ask for help, but because he's the oldest in his family, everyone comes to him and he feels like he has to be the strong guy. Like, no one's going to see me fall. No one's going to see me cry. I've only ever seen my dad cry once, you know, and that was during a serious time, unfortunately, when my grandma passed, you know. But even that, when I walk through the door, he's just sitting there like, he doesn't want to show me. You know, I'm trying to give him a hug and he's not hugging me back, like, because he's a man's man. That's how my dad's always been. Not to say you don't love me and don't show affection or anything like that. He does, especially when he's with my kids now. I see it a lot more, but yeah, I think it's just it's a melting pot of things. It's family, my environment. I think they're probably the two reasons why I don't really like to ask for help.
Fair enough. And okay, that's where we're at today then. That's also another thing. Do you plan then? Or do you just take it as it comes?
I do. For the first time last year, I did a vision board.
Okay.
Have you done one before?
Once.
Did it work?
For me, not really.
Where did you put it?
I put it It was in my room. It was like a little what do you call them? Like a cork board.
Okay.
And I stuck all like things to it, and I put it there. But because I move like a million miles an hour as well, I just didn't look at it. And I'd be looking. I look more at the clock than I do at that, and that's what really struck me down. So yeah, how was that for you?
You know what? It was powerful. I did it in January, this year, January 2024, yeah? I basically took the whole January to set my goals and put together this vision board. And then what I'll do, I'm not gonna lie, I don't do this anymore, but I probably should. Every morning, I would read over all my goals for the year, and as I'm doing it, I'm looking at the vision board.
Okay.
Now, one thing that was on that vision board was the property boardroom meeting I did. And that got ticked off. A few personal things, like obviously where we've had kids, we needed to change up cars, where we live, all these kind of things. And there's only one thing that needs to be ticked on there. There was me getting back into the gym. And you know the funniest thing? Me getting back into the gym, it wasn't even me. It was my mum and my partner. They just called me. When my mum called me, she was like, I paid for a gym membership at this place, go. What? What do you mean you paid for a gym membership? You didn't chat to me about it? No, I've paid for it, go. Because like you're going through a lot, Cobb. Like you're going through so much. You're not even realizing how much you're going through, and you need your time. My mum's telling me this. So I come off the phone, and then my partner's come into the room like, you spoken to your mum? I was like, yeah. She's like, so when you go into your first session? I was like, you were in on this. She started laughing. She was like, I've also booked you a PT session at my gym. I'm like, what are you lot doing to me? Like, I don't have the energy to be going gym right now. And they were like, no, you have to go. And I have to say, like, biggest blessing, man, because it's helped a lot. It's still very hard, but especially the level I was at to the level I'm at now, the food has helped big time because I'm not as bad as you would think, being out for however many years. But the energy levels, now I train differently. I have to think differently when I'm training. I have to think about my energy. I feel like I can only go first thing in the morning. I can't go in the middle of the day. Certain things. So yeah, going back to the gym was on there. Other things like writing books and a few things like that. I'm not writing books, but I'm writing blogs.
Nice.
So different things that were on this vision board. And now we're getting towards the end of the year. I think I can tick most of it off. And then I think I need to sit down and come up with another plan for the year. Now in my mind, I know where I want things to go long term. And it's like clear pictures I'm seeing in my vision in terms of that. So I feel like that keeps me going alone. And whenever I come across, this is another thing, you can plan, but I don't think you should plan too much because opportunities will come your way that may not fit in with your plan, but it contributes to the overall purpose. So if anything comes across me and I'm thinking, okay, this was not in the plan, it's a spanner in the works, but this lines up to what I can see in my mind, all right, I'm doing that. Let's go towards that. Plans changed. Let's pivot towards this. And then maybe we can come back to what I was trying to focus on here. Or maybe this is just rubbish now. Let's get rid of that. Let's focus on this. And then another opportunity will probably come from that. Okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. So I try not to be strict, but there's certain things I guess I want in place and things that need to happen in order for the progression to be there. So planning, I'll say 50-50.
Okay.
But vision boards are powerful. I'll say the only thing you need to do with it is when you're looking at it, read out your goals. Whatever goals you got written down that align with what's on the vision, read them out, do that daily. I think I did it every day for maybe a month and a half. Okay. Then it was like every other day, then once a week. You know how it goes. But even the fact that I did it that time every day for a month and a half, that was powerful. I think that's the reason why I'm able to say we've been able to accomplish these things now.
That is interesting. Wow.
100% recommend it, man.
Wow, yeah.
100%.
I mean, I guess What I would do then, or what I do in comparison to that, is I journaled for a long time. I did
Okay.
that for years, and then I stopped. And I haven't done that in ages now. But the one thing I stay consistent on is my morning, either my tea or my coffee, and my little to-do list. And that is it. Each day I'll have a to-do list, and
Important.
that's my not vision board, but that is my goals each day.
Yeah. Because you're getting the small wins in the to-do list. There's small wins, every single one of them. Don't write off tasks. I think having a to-do list is very, very important.
Yeah.
That keeps you going, man. It keeps you motivated because another thing you should do is probably save them and then look back on them. Say like if you're going, you have those days in it where things are just in your mind, that negative stuff just starts hitting.
Yeah.
But then if you're able to go to all those old to-do lists and now you're looking like, oh shit, actually this month I've done all this. Like, let me not be so hard on myself. Let me go enjoy myself a little bit and then come back to what I'm doing, To-do lists are important, 100%.
That's interesting though. But being hard on yourself, how has that been like a recurring thing? Someone with so much energy, like, you know what I mean? It all must come into a mountain pot.
It does. Especially now that I've got kids, man. Because again, I'm not in a secure position where I'm getting paid a particular amount every month. I have okay months and I have bad months. I'm at the very beginning of what I'm doing, so it's rare that I'm gonna have a good month. So that being said, being hard on myself, sometimes I'm looking at my kids and I just think, I wish there's so much more I can do for you guys right now. But then, you have your days, innit? And I'm a very optimistic person, I think. I have my days where I could be down in the dumps about it. And then I look at my kids and I think, first of all, these are beautiful children. They're healthy, they're strong, they're doing all the right things. So I'm not going wrong there. Second of all, what can you do for them when they're 2 and 1 years old? All you can do is give them time. That's it. You can't buy them any trainers, any clothes, any games, any toy. Yeah, those toys will get destroyed. Yeah, I'm telling you now, like, we've had gifts of extravagant toys. Come and see, they're in pieces because they're 2 boys, they're boisterous, they just pick it up, chuck it. They don't know what to do with it. That's them having fun. So the best thing you can do is give them time. And I feel that even though financially we might not be where we necessarily want to be, I'm very fulfilled waking up in the morning and being able to say, you know what, I'm just gonna wake up, take my time getting ready, I'm gonna feed the boys, I'm gonna take them out to the park, play with them a little bit, come home. When they have their nap, I'll go to work. That is the best feeling in the world right now. Yeah, for me, that's more than money. Forget the money, man. Like, forget about the situation, forget about all this stuff. Like, I could spend some quality time with my kids. I've got friends that have had kids and they get 2 weeks paternity leave and have to go back. That for me is crazy. Because first of all, your sleep pattern is all over the place. Especially in those first 2 weeks where it's a newborn, yeah, your missus is going through it. And if your missus is going through it, I'm sorry, bro, you're going through it too. Yeah, you're going through it with her, whether you like it or not, yeah? And it's not even just the missus, it's the kids as well. So after those 2 weeks, you have to wake up before everyone, get out the house, and then you're back, 5 o'clock? You're doing your 9 to 5, so you're back 6, 7 o'clock. Your kids are probably being bathed and going to bed. You spent no time with them, But me, I've sacrificed the money and said, nah, I'm gonna put more time into being with my kids because when I was younger, I was an only child and my parents worked all the time. So I'm going from school to this person's house after school. and staying there until my parents come and pick me up. Then it was play center, you know, then it's after school club, then it's youth club. And from the youth club, back in the day, I think we needed youth clubs, yeah? But in the youth club, that's where I met some of the most treacherous people, you know? So I can prevent all of that by staying at home with my kids and deciding to really work on fulfillment of my purpose, like that's coming from within the big things that I want to do. Fair enough, they're quite small steps now, but eventually this is going to be big. If I stay consistent with it over 10 years, it sounds like a long time, but I remember when I was 20 years old, like that wasn't too long ago, you know? So in my mind, yeah, man, I have those dark days, trust me, I really do. But then I just have to, let me even think. Let me see if I can leave the people with some advice when you're having those days. If you're in a similar situation, even if you haven't got kids, being in Portsmouth is great because you got the seafront. Go to the beach, take a podcast with you, take music or take nothing. Just go there and listen to the wind, watch the waves. There's so many different spots and angles you can go to in Portsmouth where you could be at the top somewhere looking at the waves. You could be down on the pebbles at the beach throwing stones. Simple things like that. Just get yourself out of the house, do something different, do something new. Doesn't have to cost any money. Just be somewhere completely different. Change your environment for a couple minutes of the day and see if that does anything for you, man. Yeah, just try and get out those thoughts and don't think that those thoughts are permanent. They're gonna be there. Life is about positive and negative, innit? And finding a balance between both. So you're gonna have negative days, just accept it, but then don't dwell on it. Yeah.
Wow. And I guess to wrap up, you said in the beginning, you didn't really have an idea of how you would have built that empire that you was always aiming for. How would you say that's changed, and how would you say you look at that same thought now?
Good question, man. Excellent question. I just want to say, first of all, yeah, when I was younger and I used to see this empire thing in my mind, like, you know, you learn about Henry VIII. I was really interested in Hampton Court Palace. I've never been to Buckingham Palace, even though it's around the corner from my school, but I've never actually been or done any tours there. But Hampton Court Palace, we did. All these little I'm very interested in those kind of properties as well. Those, like a duke has got this property in Scotland and you can go view it. Just like, and I was into that from a kid. So in my mind to think that, oh, actually, if Henry VIII can have all this, I don't want the 9 wives or whatever he did. I'm talking about just his, I don't know, the land, the different things so where I went to school in Chelsea, for example, I learned the other day, and this is where I guess I learned all that history kind of stuff. King's Road, do you know King's Road in Chelsea, yeah? King's Road was actually the King's Road. Nobody else could be on that road unless you were selling things. Okay. So when the king, at first, it was only for the king. Then they let sellers come there. Then it will be a thing where when the king's on it, no one can be on it. And then when the king's not there, people can be on it. And then eventually it got to a point where everyone can be on this King's Road. And that's how King's Road is what it is today. Because that whole area was a big estate for the king, a garden estate. And they had botanical gardens and all these things in Chelsea. You wouldn't think, but that's what it was. And I went to school there. So I don't know how I'm imagining these things in my mind and I'm imagining it as me. I'm not imagining myself as a football player or a doctor. But if I came out and said that to my teachers, I know what they would have done. They would have shut me down straight away. Like, oh, you're not part of the royal family. You can't have these kind of things. Like, what are you talking about? You want to live like Henry, you want these things. I don't know why as a child I'm seeing that in my mind. So when I was young, it was impossible, completely impossible. Like, and I think that's why I was easily distracted and I'll get into trouble Because in my mind, I'm thinking, I actually don't know what I want to do. Because what I'm seeing in my head, it's impossible. I can't do it. Now, as a grown-up, I understand what I was seeing. And no, I'm not saying I want to be like Henry VIII, but I think I just wanted to be in control, financially free, and for my family to not work so hard. You know, where we can really put a stamp on this planet, like we can do something significant that can benefit everybody. And now more and more understanding this property game, meeting very significant people who are doing incredible work in that, having a business, a plant-based kitchen that I want to build, which inevitably is going to better the world in terms of how people eat, think, how they're spiritually inclined. Like, it will change a lot. So when I'm looking at it from that aspect now, I think to myself, wow, this is the empire you were talking about. You know, it starts here. Okay, I'm only 2 years in, but think about it. Like, I've lived 30 plus years now. It's only 2 years. What's going to happen in the next 30 years if I actually stick at this? Maybe what I was seeing in my mind as a child, I'll actually be able to see. Now we've got social media, we've got all these things. Everything is a level playing field. You've got no excuses now. No excuses whatsoever. So, so for me, this is why that question is so good. It's important because I would say to anybody, and I'll say to any child, whatever you have in your mind is your dream, it can become a reality. It definitely can. Fair enough, I haven't got there yet, but I can see it now. When I was a child, impossible. Now, oh, I can see something. Is this real? All right. That means anybody should be able to do anything as long as they have it in their mind and they have it planted and they have a vision for it. You don't know what you're going to do or how you're going to get there, but have it in mind, like, this is what you want to do. This is it. Don't let your dreams get stolen, man. Don't get wrapped up into something that really, and then, you know, you're coming towards the end of your life and you're like, oh, I regret not spending enough time with my children. I regret. And that's the thing. When I meet all these successful people, these are the things they say to me. Yeah, when I was younger, I worked way too hard. And I'm like, but if you didn't work hard, you wouldn't be where you are. And they would say to me, yeah, but even if I worked 50 to 75% of how hard I was working back then, I would have still got here. It would have been slower. It might have been a bit different, but we would have got here, you know? But I took all that time focusing on this and I didn't spend enough time with my kids. And for me, that's deep because I was one of those kids that didn't get enough time. I felt like I didn't have enough time with my parents. Yeah, my parents were there. They were working, hard-working people, but my dad's going to work. I want to be with my dad for the day, man. Like, I want to go with my dad to work. I see it in my son now. Like, when I'm walking out the house, he wants to come with me. He wants to do everything that I'm doing. Like, that's just what little boys do when they have the dad in the house, innit? They want to do everything dad's doing. So it hit me. It's just hit me a different way. And now I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to be that person for my kids. But at the same time, we might have to sacrifice as we build this monster that I've got in my mind. And luckily, I've aligned myself with a good woman who has the same values and goals, really. So yeah, that's the answer to that question, man.
Amazing, man. Well, yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you, man. This has been great. I feel like this has been a light therapy session, man. It's been good. I haven't spoken like this for a while, so I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, really, really good. And I love what you're doing as well, Alec, man. So
thanks, Kobbii, man.
Just keep pushing, man.
Amazing.
It's
and
good.
We'll carry on, and I look forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man, thank you.
No problem, man. All good.
All right, so I hope the fucking thing's on. All right, happy days. Cool. All right, so part 2. In this part, we go out into the public and ask questions around some of the topics that you might do. I don't know. The viewers will know. If you look back on previous episodes, we just go out to the public and ask random questions. And this week we asked one particular question, and let's see what you think.
Cool. Let's do it.
Cool. The first one, what do you lot think of veganism?
What about it?
Well, what are your views on it?
It's fine. It doesn't affect me, innit? So do what you want. I don't know.
Do you like vegan food?
Vegan food is fire.
I never tried any of it, but if people want to be vegan, they can be vegan. Like so long as they don't go out of their way to make people feel bad for eating meat, I have no issues.
Bro, have you ever had one of them like bean patties though?
No, I haven't.
Bro, they are fucking
slap,
fire.
yeah.
They are so good.
Where'd you get them?
Just anywhere, bro. Anywhere that has like a vegetarian menu. Every now and then, I'll just take a peruse, and if they got like a bean burger, fuck it, I'll get it. They're really good.
Veganism.
I don't really know, to be fair. I don't really I'm not into that.
You're not into it, no? Why?
I don't know, I just don't know, people can have their own opinion, do what they want.
What about you?
Me, I've got a sausage thing right here, I can't lie to you, but I don't know, people just do what they want, don't they?
No, fair enough. And yourself?
Yeah, I just let people do what they want.
Yeah. You're not a vegan though, no?
I'm not a vegan, no.
Alright, well fair enough.
I don't know, I kind of let people do what they want to do. I guess that's the thing. Like if part of our biological need is to have protein and to have a full thing, but if people don't have to kill animals to have that, I was vegetarian for 2 years. I coped absolutely fine.
Okay.
It's just people's tastes and animal rights and all that sort of thing. But then equally, killing and all that sort of thing hunting is part of our natural instinct. So it swings and roundabouts.
What brought you back to meat?
I miss sausages and Haribo too much.
What do you think about veganism?
You should just eat meat.
Why?
Because you're meant to.
How do you feel about it? Are you a carnivore?
Yeah, I eat meat.
Why don't you eat vegan food?
Because it's disgusting.
What do you think about veganism?
I like it. I'm vegetarian, so I'm not against it.
Nice.
Yeah, I have no issues with it. I mean, I'm not personally vegetarian or anything, but no issue with it, you know?
No, why wouldn't you be a vegetarian or vegan?
I just like meat.
Fair enough. About veganism?
I think it's great.
Interesting. Do you want to expand?
Well, personally, it's not for me, but I'm all for it. If it's what you choose to do, go for it.
Have you ever tried vegan food?
I've tried vegan food, but I haven't tried being vegan.
No, why? You just couldn't do it?
Well, I'm really into fitness in the gym, and getting protein is a lot easier not being vegan. But fully appreciate the vegans.
Nah, fair enough. And
I think it's a okay thing, you know, if you wanna save animals and stuff, yeah, for sure, do it. But like, you know, I just really like meat, so like eating food, I just don't want like someone to like disturb me to do that.
yeah.
But then, yeah, for sure, I feel like it's a good thing, you know. I've eaten vegan meals as well, so yeah, it's quite a nice meal.
Veganism.
I'm not vegan personally, but I know a lot of people who are.
Yeah.
I guess it's okay. I don't really know.
Do you think like vegan products can taste the same as?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of people say like they don't like when vegan products like imitate real products, but I guess why does it matter that much?
I don't really know. I don't think like you do you. If you want to be vegan, you're vegan. If you don't want to be vegan, you're not vegan. I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. And do you think vegan products can taste the same as meat products?
In terms of what?
Like flavour.
Oh, definitely. I think so. Because I've tasted food then and it wasn't too different.
Interesting.
Or if it was different, it was like better most of the time. I feel like.
Interesting.
I think,
To be brutally honest, no judgment here. Judgment-free zone.
I couldn't tell you, what do you think?
Don't know.
If it's your thing, then that's alright. Like, I guess it's good for the animals that you're, like, not having like that kind of food. I guess it's better for the environment, but I do like my chicken and meat. I won't lie.
So why aren't you a vegan, for example?
I like fast food.
Nice.
Personally, I don't think I'd ever become vegan. I have a lot of friends actually that are vegan, vegetarian as well. I would consider vegetarianism. I think it's a healthier lifestyle. than veganism. I think veganism is quite extreme. I think there's definitely certain types of, for example, proteins is the most common stuff that you can't get without eating animal products. I'm not saying specifically meats, but I think there's certain type of proteins that you can't get, for example, if you don't eat stuff like eggs. And I think that's really important. So that's, yeah, honestly, that's my opinion on veganism. Really.
All right.
So,
damn.
Any thoughts?
I've got a lot of thoughts, man.
Alright.
First of all, I want to big up the younger generation, man, because I feel like the younger generation are more tolerable to these kind of conversations, and they're very fair in their understanding. You know, I've had to go out and sell my food on the street, and usually it's people a lot older than this. And whenever I say, hence why I want to kind of get away from the plant-based vegan stuff, when I mention it, people are like, oh, nah, I don't want that. And you would think it's the other way around. If I told you, oh, this is toxic food, do you want to try it? Like, you would think people go, oh, no. But if you say toxic or a dirty burger or any of these kind of things, they might gravitate towards it. I don't know. But anyway, big up the younger generation. One thing I'll take from there, this protein conversation, I think seriously needs to be addressed. Protein you can get from many different things. I'll just throw one example out there. You can get protein from spinach. Now, you don't necessarily have to eat loads of spinach. Well, you'd have to eat loads of spinach to get the amount of protein you'll get from meat, but that's not necessarily what the body needs. The body only takes so much protein, and the rest of it comes out as waste. So there's only so much protein you need. Now, it all depends on what you're trying to do in the gym. If you're just trying to build lean muscle, strength, and you're not worrying necessarily about size and bulking up, you can do all these things and be quote unquote vegan. You can do that with your food. You don't need animal products. However, depending on what your goals are now, if you're trying to bulk and get big, you might need something extra to put on top. So that's when animal products might come into it. People have whey, for example, whey shakes and whatnot, but that's all artificial, because all whey does is add water to your muscles. If you don't know, your muscles are majority made from water, right? Yes, you've got the fibers and everything, but majority of it is water. So when you're actually drinking whey protein, it's just adding to the weight of the water. That's all it's doing. So yeah, I think people need to be educated on that, and I think that's definitely a realm I probably need to go down at some point, because I can explain these kind of things, put a presentation together very easily. Another thing is taste. Yeah. Can you imagine the taste of, I don't mean to make it sound so bad, but a lump of flesh that hasn't been seasoned or cooked, and it's just been there presented to you? What do you think the taste will be?
Yeah, not nice.
It's just,
yeah, you can't imagine it, can't you?
yeah, you need the flavor, and the thing is, the flavor you're adding is herbs, spices. It's all plant-based. Like, these are all the things that you're adding to it to make it taste good. Now, you can still do that with good food. I can make you a banging curry with all the flavor in it, and you're going to forget there's meat in there because the flavor is that good. I think where the problem comes is the texture. Because people they miss that meat texture. Like, I'll be honest with you, because I used to eat meat. Sorry, man, I have to go real African with this. But when I'm eating my fufu and soup, or if I'm eating my curry goat, yeah, it's the meat falling off the bone. You know, that succulent, like, you know, and then when you're chewing it, how that goes down in your mouth. I think that's the sensation that everybody wants in the meat. I think it's more that than the flavor, if you know what I mean. It's that. You know, and that's very hard to replicate with plant-based foods. I think the closest thing you'll probably get to is mushroom. And maybe jackfruit to a degree. There's other things out there, but I think that's the part that people miss. It's that taste. The last thing I'll say, coming from an African background as well, meat, how we came to eating meat was, and you can see this on a few movies, it's not necessarily African, but everything originates from Africa. Have you ever watched Apocalypto?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great film.
You know, in Apocalypto, when they go and hunt the wild boar, I think it was, at the very beginning, running through the bushes, and then they catch it with that thing, dies, and then they cut it up and split it for the whole village to come and eat. This is the origin of how man came to eating meat like this, because it was all about going out, hunting, bringing it back to your village, sharing it amongst the people, and having a celebration to thank the Almighty or whatever deities they have at the time for allowing us to have this food. Yeah, because it's rare. We don't get this all the time. So we're saying thank you for that. But otherwise, they were eating what was available to them, like what was around and available to them, which was mainly plant-based food. So when you really take things back to the core, you start to understand that we actually don't need to be eating meat. We don't need to. There's nothing wrong with eating it, but we don't need it the way we think we need it. Consumerism, maybe some of these big companies that push it are making us feel like we need it, but really, we don't need it. You're not gonna die. I've been doing this for nearly 10 years and my health is better than it's ever been, minus the blip I had in 2020. But even that, my recovery, if you look at me now, you can't see the scar on my neck. Yeah, and that's because of my food. Plain and simple, my skin has healed beautifully off that. My fitness, going back to the gym after 4 years of inconsistency, I would say it's still better than the average person, because my food has been clean. So you don't need it. If anything, it will help you in the long run. My thing is this, I don't judge anyone. I know loads of people, and I've grown up being around people who do terrible, terrible things, innit? And they may have been through terrible things, but I don't judge, because everyone has their preferences and their story. My thing is this, if you really, for example, if you want to better your health in some kind of way, and in order to do that, you have to cut down on your meat, which a lot of people need to do, but they're not realizing, then there needs to be something there that, you know, you can go to and say, I've been told to cut down meat. I don't want to eat this dry and bland food. I want something that's good for me, but it tastes good as well. That's what's missing, if you ask me. There's definitely a lot of plant-based shops out there that are doing like great work. They're doing a great job, but they're very few and far between. When you go out on a night out afterwards, you're going straight to the kebab shop. There's no plant-based shop open for you to go get some food. Or if you're sitting at home and you're with your friends and it's a late one and you feel like you shouldn't be eating that late, but you feel like you want something. I remember back in my day, we used to go to McDonald's drive-through.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
But then imagine now you've got a drive-through that's serving something completely different and it's good food. You know, people might start to change their mind a little bit and be like, oh no, this food, it tastes good and it's good for me. Oh, that on McDonald's, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so that's basically my reply to all those people in there, man. I think it's, again, I love the younger generation, man. I think this younger generation were thinking completely different, outside the box. Let people be who they want to be. That's completely fine. I'm not trying to force the vegan or plant-based thing on people. The only people I'll force it on are the people who need it for their health. You know, that's the only people I'll force it on. Dad, I hope you're watching.
Nice. Well, yeah, no, Corey, we'll end there. And it's been a pleasure having you on as a guest, man.